Hey guys, we're live with the 49th episode of Guardian Cast. One more
49.
episode, and we'll be at 50.
Ooh,
I think technically,
we'll be an old man.
we've taken probably at least 3 weeks off during the entire year, so we've probably been doing this for at least a year, a calendar year.
No, you think about like the one, like I know we didn't do one on Guardian Cast last year or Guardian Con.
Yeah,
and then there was one where we took a break because we wanted to
raid. There was a raid that dropped. There was a raid break, day.
And there was the one that we wanted to skip so that we could be the 21st episode.
Yeah, I think that's 3. So we've been doing it a year.
Well, hold on. We have one more because we took a break. I think when we did E3, right? Or no?
E3?
Maybe
I don't
we
think
didn't.
so.
Yeah,
no,
maybe
I don't
we
think
didn't.
so.
Okay, I guess
so. Technically, we're at a year right now. Then.
Yeah. So this is 1 year of Guardian Cast.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Holiday break? I don't know if a holiday actually fell on...
Did we actually take a holiday break?
Yeah, I don't know if a holiday actually fell on any of the podcast episodes. I don't remember that happening. I mean, most holidays I feel like happen on Thursdays, but I know some of them it's just like whatever day it happens to fall on.
No, we did take a break for Black Friday, didn't we?
Black Friday?
Did we do one on Black Friday?
I don't know. Probably.
I mean, it's like 3 months ago. I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't remember saying like I need off for Black Friday.
That was a long time ago for me.
I do all my shopping online. Yeah, so I really doubt that was a thing, but maybe. We're gonna say this is a year. I'm just gonna put it out there.
Yeah, this is 1 year. 1 year ago today. Guardian Cast was we don't know what this podcast is going to be called, a podcast.
Yep. Yeah, and it was that way for God, man, we must have been talking about that for like a solid month of just like, hey, we don't know what this is called, but it's a thing, you know.
Well, the website is GuardianCastGG, right?
GuardianCast.net.
.net.
It's not it's I have the domain, but if you go to it, it's just going to show you a under construction page or something like that right now.
Yeah, in case you guys missed it from the past couple of weeks, what we're talking about is we have the domain for a website now. So we'll have the ability to post it there. One year.
We have the awesome help from Mr. Diet Woke Zero on that, who is putting in some time.
Programmer extraordinaire.
Yeah, he helped out Huffy with the Destiny Sherpa's site, so I have high hopes for it.
Isn't he a Sherpa as well?
Yes. Yep.
Well, there you go.
There you go. So we'll have to find a way to link those sites together. Like you can get your information, from Guardian Cast, and then while you're there, if you need any Sherpa services, then just on over to
real quick. I know we're gonna get into the Crimson Days here real fast, but have you been noticing on Destiny Roundup that the way that they're rounding it up is like just like
it's like a week behind?
Well, I wouldn't say it's a week behind. It's like not important things. And it's just like here's just so we can have a bullet point. Maybe I'm crazy.
I have noticed sometimes it's like a quote that I'm just like, you're talking about some bug I didn't even know was a bug.
Well, no, that's fine because I'd much rather hear about that. What I'm talking about is like last word is available to those with a season pass from Twitter. It's like, do you really need to round that up? It's like I thought.
That should be pretty clear.
They were very clear about that.
Sorry, if you bought the season pass, you are excluded from being allowed to use the last word. Yeah.
No, I mean it's cool. They've got spots for you to give your thoughts on snipers, which I know we're gonna get into probably, right? Or mention at least.
Yeah.
But like, yeah. So like this past week, there's a last word available to those with season pass. And the other one, there was another one that I saw. Whispers are on IO are now 7 days a week.
Yes.
Like, and that was in the same. Well, that's what I'm saying though. Like, like sometimes they're just like let's pad our stats here, by adding another bullet point of
Because
stuff
that's
that doesn't.
from last week.
Yeah, but I'm just saying it's in the weekly summary. So
Yeah.
like that, it's just an example of something that they probably didn't need to put in there.
Well, I mean, they did because that's something that changed last week. It used to only be available on weekends.
But wasn't that on Bungie's website? I mean, they weren't.
Yes.
Like, I don't know. Like, I look at Destiny Roundup because the reason why I use Destiny Roundup is it's impossible to find. Like, if you don't, it's impossible to find what people said and when people said it. Because there's way too many people to follow on Destiny's
I know.
community.
I didn't know about Destiny Roundup when we started the podcast, and I used to go hunting through Twitter. I'd be like, I heard about this thing earlier this week, and then I'd be like, who said it? Was it Josh Hamrick? Nope. Was it Damage? Nope. Was it? And then I'm like digging through not just their tweets, but like their replies to people, and I'm like, oh my god, where is
that's
this
the
stuff?
thing. Like, and you know, like Destiny Roundup is a great tool for that. But what I was just saying is like, if it's not on Bungie.net, I don't know, like that's what I looked at Destiny Roundup for, is like stuff that I couldn't find on Bungie.net from like, I don't care.
Well, I think they want to be a one-stop shop, right?
Yeah, maybe that's it.
They don't want you to have to go even to Bungie.net.
I just look at like the last draws available to those season pass and Whispers and IRO 7 days a week, and I'm like, they were pretty clear on that, I think.
Well, I mean, the season pass thing is like, if you thought you weren't going to get the last word as a season pass holder, then I don't know what you were expecting, like another DLC or something. Like, you have to buy the last word DLC.
So then I click on the link just to like a
read
little,
the original question.
like a little ad. The actual question was, Cosmo said, "Who's ready for the last word quest tomorrow?" And the person who asked the question was, "Will it be available to everyone that has a season pass?" And he said, "The quest will be yes."
Oh yeah, because
so it was a direct response to someone who actually asked that question.
He's answering the question in a way, because I think he's almost like not sure if he's asking like, if you bought the season pass, do you just get it for free? Like, you don't have to do any of the in-game stuff. Like, they just hand it to you.
Oh, and that's why Cosmo clarified that the quest will be. Like, you don't get it because you have the season pass. You have to actually quest it. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Because Bungie's wording on things, it can be very... Because he said, "Who's ready for the last word quest tomorrow?"
Yeah.
And will it be available to everyone who has a season pass? He's like potentially obfuscating the fact that the quest is, or the last word is available, but not the quest. And that's why Cosmo clarified that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Dissecting the frog, guys. Sorry.
So, funny story about last week's episode. I did get the audio version out by Tuesday or Wednesday. I think it was Tuesday. But I didn't have time to edit B-roll footage for the YouTube version, so that is going to be a lost episode on YouTube, because at this point I didn't want to be double uploading episodes and stuff like that. So it's available in audio format only if you want to go back and listen to last week's.
Ooh.
That's just gonna have to be how it is. I was like, man, if I get into editing this on like Thursday, because I could have done it yesterday, but I was like, I'll be putting it out, and then like a day later putting out the next episode. It's just gets to be too much sometimes. So hopefully now we're caught up. I have like a bunch of B-roll footage captured, so should be good for this week.
PvP stuff, or...
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to keep it to that. I used the Anthem footage the one week. Let me tell you, man, that was a huge headache. The whole process, man, it's been like a really steep learning curve. Like, you got to be really particular about the file formats and the codec that you use and the particular bit rate. Because remember we were talking about how like you can record in like 250 megabyte bit rates just for like the highest quality.
250 gigabyte bit rate. Or something like that. It's like 250 million or something like that you can go up to.
It should be 250K. 250K is the highest.
I mean, I don't know. I'd have to look.
But so in any case, if you upload that to YouTube, they just like compress it down anyway. Even the source quality, it doesn't end up being that.
Well, it does
that
if you
extreme.
have so if you have like 8K footage like Linus does as an
Right.
example, his does look better.
But they have a standard amount for each of those resolutions, though. Like they're not gonna let you go above. I think it's 12K for 1080p. That's the highest that they'll allow, and it just gets compressed down anyway. So yeah, that's what you want to aim for. Just
Yeah, but you
in
don't.
case
Yeah, you
anybody's.
don't want. You do what you don't want is you don't want like 540p. Like 1080p is probably more than fine.
Yeah, I'm just saying you're not gonna get better quality by just having a higher bit rate recorded. Also, I found that I was getting performance issues with that high bit rate recording because my hard drive was actually just like filling up too fast.
Oh,
So
okay,
once you
gotcha.
get to the end of your hard drive space on an SSD, it starts
What
freaking
ab-
out.
what about the NVENC encoder on like the shadow play?
That's what I'm using. That's what I'm
Okay,
using. Yeah.
and that still gets incredibly large because I thought the file size on that was a lot smaller.
It depends what the bit rate you set it to is.
Well,
So
you got
I
to have an hour of B-roll is pretty.
Yeah, at least an hour. That's if I loop it. It's got to be preferably for one of our 2 hour episodes. It has to be closer to like 3 hours because I what I do is I edit out all the time just sitting in orbit and tower or anything like that and just make it like game to game to game to game. You know what I mean?
Gotcha. So you make it look like Destiny has no load times or
Yeah,
anything.
exactly.
So you
Yeah.
make Destiny look better on the podcast.
Yeah. Yep. Speaking of load times, I never got a chance to talk to you about Anthem. Did you play it at all
So,
or
my experience with the open beta, like the closed beta, the week that it was closed, I did not have a chance to get it at all.
Okay.
The whole weekend I tried and tried and tried and tried and tried, and I was going to stream it, but like I was like what I do before I get in the stream is I like to open up the game that I'm playing before I get started. That way I know there won't be any issues with it while I'm streaming it. And
Yeah.
if there is, I can fix it because I have had that happen
But
where
what if there's an opening cutscene that you want everyone to experience your reaction to when you first open the game?
so like when a game launches, I'll just launch the game in like
Yeah.
window capture. But like Apex is a good example of a game where I can't you for whatever reason, I guess it's a cheating thing or whatever, you can't capture it in display. It's a bug in OBS where you can't capture it in
Oh,
display. You have to
interesting.
unless you have two PCs, you cannot capture it in display. You have to capture it in game capture. Which is what I came across the problem while I was doing
So
it 'cause
just get
everyone
two
said I couldn't even
PCs.
see. Yeah,
Just order it, forehead.
yeah, just do it, right?
Yeah.
So the closed beta, I never got a chance to play. And that entire weekend I was trying to stream it, but I couldn't even load it. I could not even load into it.
Right, yeah.
It just had an infinite loading thing, and then I installed
Well, it was
it.
definitely the worst on Friday, but it did get better throughout the weekend with that kind of stuff.
Well, I installed it for the closed beta. Um, on Sunday is when I actually got my I did install it, but I never got a chance to play it because I had like a lot of Windows configuration stuff to do with a new
Mhm.
Windows install.
Right.
So all of that stuff he's like, you never know how much you've changed Windows until like you get a notification on your screen and you're like, what the frick is that? I've never seen that before. And you have to go look up how to fix it, like, cause you did before and you can't remember what you did because it was years ago. But
Yeah.
yeah, so I installed it and I actually never got a chance to play even the open beta. I still have it installed, I think, but I
Well,
haven't
up.
I haven't played it at all.
Oh man, internet spike. Sorry guys, this is gonna be some
Uh-oh.
technical issue here.
I think I haven't played it at all is what I last said. I don't know if
Can you see me?
yeah. Yeah,
I
everything's
just
fine.
had like a big internet spike.
Mhm.
OBS disconnected. So
Yeah,
that's cool.
well, like your face was on there for a little bit and I couldn't hear you. Whatever you said after I said. What's going to be funny is because the audio is going to be
Yeah, the audio
spliced together
should still
correctly.
Man,
this is a good example of why we want to have, this is a benefit of having our audio the way that we have it.
that's true.
But
That's true.
I didn't hear what you said. So if you could repeat it.
Yeah. All right. I'm just starting back up again. Hopefully that just lets me reconnect without any issues. All right. Okay. We should be back.
Okay.
So I wanted to say though, while you can capture Anthem on one PC, I will tell you, you're gonna have some issues. I hope that they get this ironed out at launch, because even me on a 2 PC setup, let me put it to you this way: playing in 1440p, if you try and put it on max settings, I was getting an average of 55 FPS.
Yeah, I don't intend on playing in 1440 though, because the monitor I have is 1080p, and I don't want to go up to 1440.
But I mean, that's like barely a difference, right? I mean, you're not going to like save that much performance even in 1080p. I would imagine it's going to be around maybe 70 FPS. But then once you start talking about streaming and stuff like that, it really starts to cut into it a lot.
Like, yeah, I don't know what the heck these games are like, where they think, oh, well, we can use the CPU like crazy. It's like, leave my CPU alone. Yeah. Just use my GPU.
Well, and it's like, I have a 1080 Ti. I mean, it's not like the newest best thing, but it is. Yeah. It's still a pretty powerful card in terms of what's on the market, Like, are you only designing this for someone with a 2080 Ti or two of them?
Yeah, RTX 2080 Ti's in RAID 0.
In SLI. Yeah, in RAID 0. Oh my god.
But sometimes it does feel like that, Like, it feels like these games are like just designed for like the highest of end consumer. And
well, let me put it to you this way, Exo. I played on my laptop. My laptop has a GTX 1070, and it has a 7700 HQ, which is the laptop version of the 7700K. And I put it on all low settings in 1080p, and I was getting 45 FPS.
Wow.
Oh my god.
One of the things that I did in Apex was I went and I disabled all the stuff that was increasing the amount, because like it tells you what the thing does. It's like increases the load on your GPU, increases the load on your CPU. And so I disabled all the stuff, or I made it low for all the stuff that like increased on the CPU, and I like enhanced all the stuff on the GPU side. So I was like at least I'm going to get, a playable frame rate this way. So
yeah.
No, and it's always over 60. And I think it's always over 60 for me, but like, just get a 2 PC setup, forehead.
Yeah. There you go. It definitely has made things easier on me, but it just blows my mind when I have something like that, where I'm like, dude, I have like one of the best PCs you could have in a 2 PC setup, and I'm still getting like sub 60 frame rates. Like, that doesn't make any sense at all,
Did you have it like on ultra or like the settings?
I did. I eventually ended up like tuning it a little bit. I turned down like the post processing and some of the what's the ambient occlusion and stuff like that. And
yeah, ambient occlusion really hits the CPU hard too.
Yeah, and I got it up to like 70, 80 FPS. But it still dipped in certain places, it wasn't like not consistent. So they need some like serious driver modifications for that or something. I
mean, just all these games like that are coming out now seem like they're like, oh yeah, we built it with the 2080 in mind. And it's like, Jesus. I mean, that card is like $1,200.
Yeah.
And it's just out of
Hey, speaking of that, range. There's a rumor, I've been talking to Michael about this, and there's a rumor that this summer, NVIDIA is going to release another series of GPUs that is on their Turing architecture without the ray tracing. So we might get the opportunity to buy a cheaper version of the 2080 Ti in raw performance without the ray tracing cores.
But the raw performance is not really that much improvement over 1080, right? And that's where
20% more.
Well, that's why they're
20%.
seeing their sales numbers kind of dip, is because
Right.
people aren't willing to pay
Right.
an extreme premium for a 20% increase over
Yeah.
something that costs $500.
Exactly.
Maybe $500 is a good price for it, but
Well, the 1080 Ti is still going for $800, mostly because they stopped making them.
that's why. Yeah, but that's why,
Like,
right? So like if they
yeah,
come out with this new card, they have to put it at right around the probably what price point do you think?
probably $800.
You think 800?
Yeah, I think it needs to be $800. So if they call it the 1180 Ti or whatever, and they strip the ray tracing out of it, hopefully they go back to their old pricing structure of the Founders Edition being around 800, and some of the partner boards and cards being slightly more or less, depending on
Depending on
which one you're.
which
Yeah,
one it is, yeah. I mean, everybody kind of goes with Asus, right? Because Asus makes a good card.
Asus and EVGA are my favorites.
Well, the reason why I think the reason why I like Asus is because they use all laser machine part. Like none of it, no parts are designed or created by a human being, so it's all like using like robot precision.
Well, the why a lot of people like Asus is the fans. If you're on an air cooled card, the fans are usually the quietest. For some reason with Asus, I watched this whole Gamers Nexus thing on the Asus Strix versus the FTW3 from EVGA, which are the
Mhm.
two like top end partner cards, and basically they're almost identical in performance. It's like within 1% of each other in almost every category, but
What year was it where they completely disrupted their own market with it? There was one year where I can't remember what they came out with. Was it the 960 or the 860 or the 850?
I don't think there was an 850. Was there?
I don't remember.
There's no
I don't
8
remember what
series.
generation. It was a couple of years ago where there was a 7 series, I think, or
Yeah.
the 7 Ti, where they were like the greatest performance at the absolute, like it was so much better than what they had for $500, and it was like $250.
That's funny.
I can't remember which one it was.
You know what's a big disappointment? All of the reviews came out for this yesterday. AMD's new Radeon 7. Have you seen this?
No, I haven't.
All right, so this is, man, this is, it just like hurts me to even say this, but AMD released the first 7 nanometer GPU, right?
Okay, that's
And
the Radeon 7 is the first 7 nanometer.
Yep, the first 7 nanometer GPU.
Okay.
It costs $800,
Okay.
$850, something like that, and it's in
What's the
some
performance like?
cases, in some cases it's on par with a 2080, not a 2080 Ti.
Okay, I mean that's
In
better
some
than
cases,
that's like better than a 1080 Ti though.
basically in DirectX 12 games, it goes well. No, 2080 and 1080 Ti are the same. That's what's so confusing about this new pricing structure, but they're essentially the same within 5% of each other. But so this new card, it goes head to head with it in DirectX 12 games, but if they're still using DirectX 11, it doesn't do as well. And part of the problem is if they were going to do that, AMD needs to undercut the price, but they put such expensive memory in there. They put 16 gigabytes of HBM2 memory, which is really expensive. And so now nobody knows what this card's really for. It's like marketed for gaming, but like all that memory seems to indicate that it's for like workstation productivity, and so people are like kind of saying, oh, it's a multi-use card, but it doesn't really shake up the market at all. It's kind of a disappointment. For being on 7 nanometer architecture, it needed to either be better than NVIDIA's high-end GPUs or cheaper, and it's neither of those things.
Well, what I remember, because like a couple of weeks ago, we saw the January 29th update for, so it was last week, the update for the RTX cards, improved performance for RTX NVENC. They updated their NVENC encoding to use the RTX.
That's a big deal. That's a big deal.
Well, so now the RTX performance that you're not even using in the card is being used by the NVENC encoder. So if you did happen to purchase an RTX and you're like, I don't know what to do with it, the NVENC encoder, I think they said they can get to medium 8000 bit with like no performance hit at all.
Yeah, so it's basically the quality at a 1080p 60 stream at or I'm sorry, not 1080p, 720p 60 stream, 6000 bit rate. The quality is apparently right on par with X264 medium.
Yeah, I actually looked at it and it looked like it was better than X264 medium. So
but
like
as soon as you drop the
better.
bit rate is when it loses. So if you do 720p 60 at 3500 bit rate, then it's back underneath X264 again, because NVENC needs the bit rate to keep it looking good for whatever reason. That's how their compression algorithm works. But it's definitely an improvement over the old NVENC. And
yeah, but it's basically it's using cores that you're like, it wasn't going to use those RTX cores. So
and that's the other problem with this Radeon 7 is it doesn't offer any of those features. It's the same price for the same performance as a 2080, but you don't get the ray tracing. Not that anybody cares, but maybe some people care. And you don't get the that NVENC encoder. So
I'm looking, so like in my position where I have a 1080 just a 1080, do I wait for the new pricing of the new cards and I just like prepare for?
That's what I'm doing. I'm waiting for the new pricing of the new cards. I mean, if you're really dead set on keeping a one PC setup, then maybe RTX is better for you. But
I mean, I don't want to think to myself and go, oh, you know, every decision I've ever made for the stream was made for the stream and ending it with a, you know, the best possible setup or scenario that I was going to get. The camera that I went with was a little bit more expensive. It was the 922, but it was better in low light scenarios. So I was like, okay, that means that it's going to get better saturation of the green screen behind me potentially if I'm in a good light scenario, right? The mixer that I chose was a mixer that was, I actually don't even know how I found this mixer, but I found it. And
did you get the Go XLR mixer?
No, I was looking at that actually. That looks pretty neat.
Yeah, everybody seems to be using that. I mean, that mixer basically mimics my mixer, the functionality of it, except it's a lot smaller. So for people who need the space.
Smaller. Yeah, it's smaller. Like what you can do with your mixer is kind of is the really neat thing. And I think they're around the same price, or no?
Mine is $50 more, but I also have more inputs. So
yeah, 2 more inputs, but you know, they have other features that you might use as a streamer, like the audio buttons and the effects panel.
Yeah, so, I have effects as well. I just don't use them.
I mean, it's kind of off to the side, right? So like,
exactly.
You're like, hold on, let me. There we go. We get my effect going.
Yep.
So I understand that. Like in my position, actually, the Go XLR might actually be a better choice. But I think
it's a great value for streamers.
I'll
honestly.
save up and I'll get the upgrade that I know I need to get. Ending with a, you know, looking at a 2 PC setup. I still don't know if I want to do Intel or AMD. I know you're doing AMD, and I know AMD does a
for a streaming PC. You're talking about
for the streaming PC. Yeah.
I mean, because core count is so valuable for a streaming PC, AMD, you get a better cost per core. That's why I went with it.
Well, better cost per performance, right? The performance of the cores are a lot less money per.
Well, I mean you can get more cores. You can get more cores for less money than with Intel.
Yeah.
With Intel, if you absolutely need those cores to run at the highest possible frequency, then Intel's still your best bet. But you're gonna pay out the nose for it, man. Like if you want
$2,000 for the PC for the CPU you want.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a CPU.
Yeah. Yeah, and then don't forget your motherboard's going to be at least $800 too. So, you know.
Oh, is it? Is the X399 motherboards that?
Oh yeah, they're crazy, dude. They're insane. And then don't plan on upgrading it ever, you know, because it's not going to be compatible with the next
Jesus.
series.
So if I was to type in like Asus, like I don't know, like the model, the Strix, right? Does
Yeah.
even Strix have a model for at $399?
I
Or do I
don't
have to go
think
the higher
Strix,
end?
because Strix is made for gaming, so it's probably like X399.
No, they
Asus
do, but
definitely
it's
makes
it's at a
some.
huge premium compared to
Yeah.
their. I mean, the Maximus board for gaming it was like 250, I think. That's how much I paid,
Yeah.
or like
Yeah.
250, something like that.
Yeah.
This is $350 for the Strix, which is like the low end, kind of
Yeah.
like mid tier gaming. Like it has all the features that you'd want in a gaming motherboard, but
Yeah.
that's crazy.
Um, the new, have you seen the new Intel 28 core CPU?
No, but now I
It's
want these things to be
it's
cheaper, man.
$3,000, dude. It's $3,000 for the CPU. I'm not kidding.
Do they make a Maximus for the 399?
No,
No.
I don't think so. I don't think so anyway. Maybe they do, but I don't think for
I
that
see
platform.
Z390. That's for the 9900K. Z390, Z390, Z390. They've got all the Maximus. So Intel CPU has got a new CPU, right?
Yeah, it's got 28 cores in it, and it costs $3,000.
Oh, 3,000.
Yeah.
So they're just going up and up and up and up and up, and they're not even gonna.
Don't even compete. just charge more. You know.
If CyberPower could please sponsor my stream, that'd be great.
Michael wants to know who spends less than $500 on a motherboard anyway. You know.
Oh my. Well, the custom water loops and
Yeah.
we're not getting involved in that at all. But
Oh, you mean you're not going to like break out a blowtorch and start bending pipes into angles and
I don't want to. I want to avoid that if I can.
Dude, imagine doing that, like bending the pipe into a 90-degree angle and then having like it be like millimeters away from fitting the actual angle you were trying to get it to fit.
Yeah, and then it'd be like just a little bit off, and then it's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
oh, I gotta spend another $40 on a new piece of tubing.
Back to the drawing board.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean these Maximus, so they don't make a Maximus board for that. So you've got to, so like what board would you buy for X399? Like what's the board that you'd buy if you were to go with an X399?
I don't know. Let me check them out.
Because you go with Aces, right? I mean that's
Yeah. Oh, well, I got the Zenith Extreme for my Threadripper, but I don't know what the equivalent of that is for X399. Is it X399? Is that no, that's not right, is it? That's not the right thing, is it?
I think it's the chip is the 9980XE, the Skylake, so I guess I could just click on like Newegg and find a combo with a mother. Nope, they don't have a combo with a motherboard.
No, dude, it's X299. X399 is AMD. Socket
2066 is what it is.
Maximus is mainstream Intel, right? Yeah, Michael. But is there what is the Zenith is the Threadripper? Yeah, but what's the high end for Skylake X? I'm not sure. I've never like looked into it, but I'm like looking at some Skylake X motherboards right now, and they're like $700.
They've got a Strix one for $289. So that's not terrible. And it's got two spots for
Is it X299?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, those are like 300, 400. Oh, the Prime is 400. Or the Tough. I always like the look of the Tough, but it's like when I Oh, and here's an ROG Rampage Extreme for 749. So there's that.
Hmm. There you go. No, the Rampage is that, yeah. I guess Rampage is the name of it. Yeah, Rampage. Yep, that's the Maximus equivalent. So that one's $750, the Rampage 7.
Okay.
There you go. So there's your answer.
So ROG Rampage 7. So that is quite the motherboard.
Yep.
Well, no, they've got it for 900. No, that's our is it Rampage 6?
No, I'm looking at the Rampage 7 right now. Or no, you're right, 6. VI. Yeah, 6. And that says it's for the 9th gen.
750, yeah.
Yep. Nice.
Does that even have a M.2 slot?
It better.
It doesn't.
No, that can't be right. That can't be right. Pay $750 for a motherboard, no M.2. Yeah, it does. It says PCI Zone.
Up to 4. But those are not, like, it's not like horizontally though, right?
It's probably just under that the
big shield.
Yeah,
that's a good heat shield then. Yeah, it might be. It probably is actually. Because the shield is it's probably in between the two PCI ports.
Mm-hmm.
Or.
All right, let's talk about Crimson Days.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
So,
Crimson Days.
Yeah. Crimson Days starts next week, right? It's the 12th of February to the 19th. It's going to be 1 week this year instead of 2. There's going to be an exclusive legendary bow called the Vow. I don't know what's going to be special about it. They put out this trailer where he like one-shots 2 different people. I can guarantee you right now, the thing is not going to one-shot anybody. Just forget about it. You know, it's not happening. They will not put a one-shot bow in the game.
I think this is another like Destiny's creative editing. To give you the idea that they're literally just one-shotting people, because this guy, like when I watched in the video, the guy was already had a shield low. The second guy had a shield low.
Mm-hmm.
But it is doubles, right? So we're gonna be able to play doubles again.
It is doubles, which is cool, and it's doubles with like the modified rule set. So
I like the fact that they're not doing anything different. Once they've figured out what they're like, they are doing like one thing. Like the Vow is new, but like nothing else is different, because it really reminds me of like World of Warcraft.
Well, you know what kind of bugs me about it though? They're like rewards from last year's event will be returning with the added fire of the Vow. So is that the only new thing? Like I looked at the list and I couldn't remember if it was all new. Like if there was any other new.
That's all return. It's all the same.
That's kind of lame. That's like seems very low effort, you know?
Well, in a way though, but I like the sugary ghost shell. It's a nice
yeah, but so shell. If you're somebody who got everything last year, you're basically just like, eh.
Yeah, I mean, it's a. They said there's triumphs and stuff to complete for the ghost shell. So
nice. It's exciting stuff. Yeah, I don't know.
Confectionery hearts.
I'll probably play this for fun, but I'm not grinding for all this stuff. I don't really care.
Yeah, I mean, but back to what I was saying though, like events for a game. I mean, yeah, it's low effort if you think about it like that. But like once you've created a good event for the holiday, you should have on a yearly basis. World of Warcraft has had this for a long time, where they've had you if you complete everything in all of the thing, you get a mount. I would think it was like a purple drake, and I made sure to do everything in those events to make sure that I was 100% complete, so that by the time 1 year rolled around, I would get the mount. And
Hmm.
the event never changed, and like I don't remember what their Valentine's Day event is in that game, but like a very similar thing is that that event never changed. It was always the same. If you did it before, you don't have to do it again, but it's there to do it if you want to do it or take part in the festivities. There still are some, like, technically I don't have the red rocket mount, which was one of the mounts that is like really really rare, but uh, back in
I'm just saying, I don't see people looking at this and saying to themselves, I know there's all these other games out, but Crimson Days, I gotta hop back on
well, the thing
Destiny for
is
that.
they didn't incentivize very well. So
Yeah,
if they were to say we have triumphs that we have for a year-long triumph, and we're going to give you something really special for doing all this stuff in the year one triumphs, and so like the Crimson Day comes out with triumphs because this is the first time we have triumphs, and then they say the next event that they have, you have to do all of those as well, and all of those as well, and at the end of it you'll get something really cool, then you would do it.
right.
You would be incentivized to do it. So like
Yeah.
as long as that thing at the end of the year long grind is something that really is worth it.
I think they're actually just taking the opposite approach, though. I think they're just like, yeah, just let people go play other stuff right now, and
Yeah,
we'll
it
work on
feels
whatever
it
we're
feels
working
like
on.
half done, right?
Yeah.
Like in the case where you have
Like
something
they had a meeting one day, and they were like, "What was that thing we did last year, guys? Do you still have that? Do you have the dev kit for that? Can we just roll that out?" Oh, you can. Okay. Well, add one new thing.
or they're
Give it a
just
new
like,
coat of paint.
or they're at work and going,
Yeah.
hey, what are you working on? It's like, oh, dude, I'm playing Apex. I don't know what the I'm a little behind.
Oh my god. I hope that's not the case. My god.
But they play other games. I mean, they have to. Like,
Josh Hamrick's like,
yeah, they
I've
have
been
to
playing
for work.
Apex, and we're just gonna throw out everything we've been working on and turn Destiny into a battle royale.
I hope so, man.
Oh my god.
Oh god, no. Apex is a lot of fun though. I mean, we're gonna get to that, but
Yeah. So I've been playing PvP recently in Destiny, just a couple hours a week, mostly getting footage and stuff, but the last word has kept me a little bit interested. I'll say, like, there's like a lot of other games, so it's hard to play Destiny right now, but the last word has mixed things up enough that I've been like, wow, this feels definitely better than it did before. I was trying out Dragon Shadow last night, and the handling buff that it gives to the last word makes it just feel like a million times better. There's also this weird bug that seems to happen sometimes
there's a handling buff.
on Dragon Shadow
So for the last word.
for any weapons, but yes, it helps the last word a lot.
Okay.
So you'll just notice like your weapon switching is a lot faster, and your aim down sight speed is a lot faster after dodging. But anyway, there's this weird bug that happens, and I'm not sure if it's tied to handling or not, but sometimes you'll like snipe somebody in the body and switch over, and then you'll be like spamming the trigger and it like won't fire. The last word gets like jammed up. And I'm just wondering if it's like a bug tied to frame rate, like everything always is,
Yeah. I mean, probably.
Probably, yeah.
Their engine needs some. They need to just.
Their engine needs a new engine.
They need to throw it in the trash and start over.
Well, funny thing about that, I've been playing Kingdom Hearts 3, and apparently halfway through development, they made the decision to throw out their engine. They had their own Kingdom Hearts engine. They threw it away, and then they rebuilt the whole game from the ground up on the Unreal Engine, and they were like, man, that was the best decision we've ever made because it gave us a lot more possibilities.
Wait, what game?
Kingdom Hearts 3.
Oh yeah. Well, they had Tetsuya Nomura had like he's the art designer for it, and like he's always stressed that like their in-house stuff is really really good, but it's like it doesn't have the what did he? Well, I don't remember what words he used, but he was like he always said something like he believed that like the amount of time that he was taking in development was always not necessarily because of the engine, but like I mean, it's kind of proof that he's a brilliant designer. But Square Enix just thankfully when they decided to move all their games over to Unreal, it was like you said, it was a
welcome change,
a huge thing. Yeah, right. So like from a developer standpoint, right? From like if I'm thinking, oh, I'm going to develop a game, like why the heck would I want to build everything from scratch?
Yeah.
Like what programs are you using? Well, I'm using Maya and 3DS what was it? What's the program that they use, like 3DS Pro or something like that?
But yeah, they said that like once they realized the tools that Unreal had, they were like, man, why weren't we doing this a lot sooner? You know?
Well, it's pretty cheap to license as well. You have a free license that you can use. And I think even if you put it on the Unreal store, you can the Epic store, you can get I forget what it is. I'm gonna have to look that up, the payment that you pay Epic. But yeah, so like they should just do that. Is that what we're saying?
I don't know, because like one pushback I've heard is that Destiny's unique feel for shooting the gun, like the gunplay that they get praised for, is not possible to achieve on another engine necessarily.
I don't believe that.
Well, what game have you ever played on the Unreal Engine that feels as good to shoot as Destiny? Not Fortnite. I'll tell you that. Definitely not Fortnite.
No, but I mean, you're telling me they can't get the camera to jolt back in the same. I don't believe it.
I don't know, but that is what I've heard, is that like they don't want to give up their own engine because they may not be able to make it feel the same.
Yeah, so they're just being stubborn. Got it. Like it doesn't have to be the same. It can be better.
Maybe.
Like, who knows?
I think it would just save them time is the thing, because right now every time they want to
energy, money, like
they every time they want to do something new, they have to create the tools to create the tools that they need to develop whatever they're going to do. Where with this, the tools would be in place.
It's like, well, okay, well we need a way to put the event in.
Yeah.
All right, so now we have to put the event in. All right, so now we have the event in. So now where do we go from here? So we need to put in triumphs. Okay, we need to put in triumphs. So we need to put in the system that will put in triumphs for us.
Yeah.
And then we can put in triumphs.
Hey, speaking of Kingdom Hearts, have you played the new one at all?
No.
I know. No. Are you planning on playing it?
At some point. I mean, I've watched enough streams on it, so I mean, like spoilers aren't going to really affect me.
Well, I would say to you, if you do play it, definitely play on proud mode, because the game is like way too easy in comparison to the old ones. I am 11 hours in on proud mode, which is the hardest mode you can select, and I haven't died once, and I'm not like, I don't know, playing super conservative or anything like that. So I'm just kind of baffled by that, because the Kingdom Hearts games were always really challenging, like the old ones anyway. So
yeah,
it's kind of weird how they've made it so much easier than it used to be.
Yeah. Did you notice the difference between? Did you play the difference between like standard mode and like stable mode or whatever it's called for the frame rate and?
I haven't used stable mode, but I am playing on the Xbox One X, and it runs in 1440p 60. I do notice frame drops occasionally in like really busy areas, but
yeah, I saw digital. The analysis came out, and they said that like the best place to play it for frame rate, like best possible frame rate and best, I guess, the most consistent. So they said if you're playing it in 1080p, for whatever reason, the Xbox doesn't downscale to 1080p in that game.
So this is apparently it runs natively in 1440p 60 no matter what you do.
You can't you can't turn it down to 1080.
You can, if you turn the Xbox resolution down to 1080p 60, it'll downscale.
Right, but it still uses power. So like they said,
and so conversely, if you play in 4K, it upscales, and it's not really running in 4K.
I mean, it's a super powerful machine, but I don't know how they ended up with they ended up giving PS4 Pro the win for 1080p for most stable frame rate in 1080p. But the Xbox has the most stable frame rate at the base resolution overall, and it's weird. It's really weird to hear that. It's like the Xbox is more powerful. Like the Xbox should just be able to, because PlayStation has the ability for you to change the native resolution, is what gives them the advantage at 1080p, I guess.
Gotcha.
So,
I play in 1440 anyway, so it was actually like perfect.
You probably
for me.
bring it down to 1080p and you downscale it for the stream, but you probably play in 1440.
Right. Yeah.
Xbox has better hardware, always has. I mean, I guess the 360 is arguable.
It's so marginal. It's so marginal.
It
like
is.
the Xbox One X has a slightly better processor than
they're all
PS4
off-the-shelf
Pro.
components now anyway, right? So like they're all x86 architectures.
It's a Jaguar. I don't know. The CPU in both of those consoles are complete crap. Equivalent to like an i3, basically, like a 7th gen i3.
I know. On NeoGAF, I'm reading the
GPU is a 1060, pretty much. It's a GTX 1060.
On NeoGAF, I'm reading the rumors for the next consoles, and I'm hearing that Microsoft is going to come out with a streaming only console this year, and then possibly come out with their next version of their version of whatever it is next year. And Sony's probably going to come out with their next console this year or early next year.
In 2019?
Yeah, I mean, like rumor mill is saying that it's going to be a more powerful machine, like it's going to be around the $500 price point. So
yeah, they can't go over that, or no one will buy it.
I don't really even like the $500 price point. Yeah. $500 price point. I think $400 is where it should sit. And that's me saying, oh, I want the best possible hardware I can get. Yeah. But like, I don't want gaming to be out of the hands of, because in a couple of years, right? They're gonna have a refresh probably.
Yeah.
Similar to PS4 Pro and Xbox One X.
Yep.
And it's going to be a $400 or $500 version of the same console, but better.
Yeah, and now I'm in the position where I have every console. I've got the Switch, the PS4, even though it's just a Slim, and the Xbox One X, and I'm going to have to maintain those now. So, like, if Sony comes out with like a new thing, then I'm going to have to like trade in the Slim. It could get expensive, like it could get really expensive if like every couple of years, each one of these consoles is upgrading.
That's the reason why console gaming kind of has the appeal, right? It's like you only pay like $400 or $500 every 5 years or so.
If you have one console.
Yeah, I mean, if you have one yeah, that's true. But like let's say it's $1,000 every 5 years. So it's like, but PC gaming is like, hey, did you see that the new processor came out? It's like every 2 or 3 years you're having to put another $400 or $500 into your computer.
You're probably rebuilding in like 3 years,
I guess every 3 or 4, like probably every 4 years you're rebuilding, right?
It depends, because like if Intel will let you like upgrade your processor, then maybe you're not. But, right now as it stands, it's like, oh yeah, it's been 3 years and like none of the processors are compatible with my motherboard. Might as well just rebuild the whole thing. That's how it kind of feels, right?
Yeah, when I upgraded from a 77 to an 87, I got a new motherboard.
Yep.
So is that technically rebuilding?
Technically, I think so, right? You got to take the motherboard out. I mean, if you use the same case, it's whatever, but it's like, it's kind of a new machine at that point.
Yeah. Didn't
The
use
good
new
news
RAM.
is if you do want to upgrade now, the 9900K is compatible with that 8700K's motherboard. So they actually did make that one compatible.
Oh, so the Z390 is compatible with Z370?
Yes.
Good.
Yep.
All right. That's not bad.
But that processor is $550. So
Yeah, I mean, at that point, I might as well just spend
build a
2,000.
streaming PC.
Might as well just spend 2,000.
Yeah, yeah. No, I was gonna say, like a lot of people say, hey, maybe I could just get the 9900K and stick with a one PC system. And I try and say, for $600-700, you could build a streaming PC. So why spend 550 on just a processor?
Right. Right, because the Asus or the one went down, right? Came down in price.
Wait, what went down?
The I don't know what they call them. The AMD's chip.
The Ryzen.
Yeah, Ryzen 2.
Yeah, Ryzen is pretty cheap, and they're coming out with a new Ryzen 3 or whatever 3000 series that look like they're going to be pretty good, but we don't know yet exactly what the specs will be.
Right.
I think 12 core is what most people are expecting to replace their Ryzen 7s, which would be kind of insane.
So like back to the console thing though, like I'm like, that's kind of like the appeal of the console business, is that you're not going to get the best of the best, but it is very, very, very competitive for the price.
Yep.
When it's launched, and then every couple of years you might need to refresh that, but the games,
even when it's launched, it's usually a little bit behind. But
the games that are like the games that come out for it though are just so incredibly graphically. There's just like, it's amazing. I mean, so many people have given God of War the game of the year last year. Just because it's just an incredible game. Like,
it's the art style, man. Did you see
a better looking game though last year? Graphically, the best looking game.
I mean, I think the art style is definitely one of the best looking games I've seen, but playing in 30 FPS didn't make me too happy.
I guess that's true. But it's like frames per second's one thing, but like,
yeah,
when you take like what games are coming out for consoles, they just blow everything away that's available like exclusively on PC away. Even if PC has an option, well, not, I guess not. So the scenario I guess you're looking at there is like really Sony games, because most Microsoft games are available on PC, right? So like you have like The Last of Us 2 is just like from trailers, and they're saying no, this is gameplay footage, and it's like, what? that game looks too good to be gameplay footage, even if it's only 30 frames per second. But that's kind of what they're aiming for,
Yeah, I wish they would stop doing that.
I guess the next so a big rumor in the space is that most of the consoles are targeting 60 frames per second.
I really hope so, because
like,
honestly,
I guess they said the frame buffer. There's a problem with the frame buffer with them. Like if they double the size of just the frame buffer, but they leave everything else kind of the same, they're gonna give overhead to allow for 60 frames per second at the same hardware instead of.
Because I can deal with 60, like that's not that big of a deal. But every time I go back and play a 30 FPS game, everything starts to like bother me. Like it gives me like a little bit of a headache to pan the camera, the motion blur and stuff like that. And then also inputs. I don't know if you've ever noticed, but if you play at a 30 FPS frame rate, then like pressing a button doesn't always do something when you tell it to do something. It could be like slightly delayed because you press the button in between the frames, which is annoying as hell.
Yeah, I mean, I get used to it. So like I was playing games at 60 frames per second on my computer like just fine, and then like it is jarring at first, but I get used to it. I will say though, they remade the because I played The Last of Us originally at 30 frames per second, and then they remade The Last of Us like remastered for the PS4, because The Last of Us was a PS3 game. And
Right.
then Last of Us, they made a remastered version at 60 frames per second, and it was glorious to just that alone. And then
Hmm.
everything, all the textures being updated and everything looked amazing as well. But it's locked at 60 frames per second is amazing.
That's nice. So Apex Legends, let's hear what you have to say about it.
Wow, what do you have to say about it?
I was really hoping to like it. I saw people playing it. I first of all, let's talk about how it just randomly dropped. Like, I feel like nobody knew this game was coming except a few content creators who were like in
Yeah.
early access.
So like I
They
don't know if Shroud was supposed to say how he found out about it, but apparently there was the Thursday or the Tuesday before last, they were all invited to a
Yeah.
private developer meeting
Mhm.
where EA and EA had nothing to do with it, by the way.
Right.
But Respawn sat them down and was like, "Look, this is what we're working on," and they had a little bit of time with the game. They didn't have much time with the
Right.
game; it was like an hour or so. And those were the people that they paid for sponsored streams the day that it launched. So they had
Yep.
Apex Legends partners and things like that. So the people who they invited, they paid to be a partner for Apex Legends.
And for most of the public, it just kind of felt like, here's a game. Like nobody knew. Nobody had any idea. It was just, I woke up and Twitter was like lit up like, hey, this new game came out today. I've never seen anything like it. Most of the time it's like years or months of just like, hey, there's a game. But I think they were trying to avoid all of the EA like negativity, because they would have announced that they were working on this a year ago, people would have been like, EA is gonna screw this one up, guys. And there would have been all these YouTubers.
Had an open letter on Respawn's website that basically said like they know the pitfalls, they know what people are gonna say. They know people are gonna say, "Oh, it's a battle royale with loot boxes," as they say. So they said, "Okay, so no, we're gonna." So the reason why we're coming out with it now, and the reason why we're doing it now, is so that we can say we know what you're concerned about, and we're concerned about it too. But we're going to launch this, and we're going to be as open and as clear as we possibly can be with what our goals are for what the game is. And it like, when you look at like the loot box, because it's a free to play game that is driven by, obviously the cost of loot boxes is driving the game. And we know that at least that is a big business in and of itself, because there's a $3 billion price tag on Fortnite right now. That they made $3 billion last year off of Fortnite. So it's a big pie. So with them saying, hey, I actually have the piece of the letter that I thought was interesting. There is, where is it at?
So I actually I downloaded this game and I was excited for it because looking into it, I said, hey, it's the same developers as Titanfall. They used a lot of the same mechanics from the Titanfall 2 build. I enjoyed Titanfall 2. One of my favorite things about Titanfall was wall running. I didn't really care for the Titans too much. So when they said no Titans, I was like, yeah, that's fine. I was like, I've never tried a battle royale game before, ever. I've never played any battle royale. And I was like, this one's a first person shooter. Maybe I'll be able to get into this. When I jumped in, this was my experience. Find a game. Fly in, jump out of a plane, scramble around looking for a weapon, die, find a new game. And I did that for an hour. And I was just like, how the hell am I supposed to learn how to play this game when all you do is fly in and people know how to kill you before you find any weapons? And so like I'd find a weapon occasionally and it's just like you get in one gunfight and you die and then you find a new game.
Mm.
I'd never even like memorized the full keybinds in an hour because I just spent the whole time dying
Did
and
you do the
reloading
training
games.
first?
Yeah, but this training was just like load in and shoot at a stationary target, and
Yeah.
like I mean, it was not really anything special.
So I guess I mean I had a slight advantage because I had played Ring of Elysium, and a little bit of Fortnite. So I knew that the way that loot is in buildings, and that's where you find the loot.
Hmm.
And sometimes you can or can't find the loot, or sometimes loot's in other places. But uh, like the battle royale kind of structure is designed to be well, in this case, it's a heavily teamwork oriented game. I can't.
Right.
I don't think they have plans to do a seasonal thing. But yeah, so like no, not like a seasonal thing, but like a solo thing, like a solo player.
Yeah. I mean, that's the other side of it. I had no idea how to manage inventory. I don't know what any of these weapons, like which ones are better and which ones are worse. I had one game that persisted longer than just dropping in, and it lasted till round 3. But I literally just followed my team around, and all they did was hide. Didn't get in one firefight until like 15 minutes into the game, and then we all died. I was like, I just don't know what's fun about this.
Yeah,
Like I don't get it at
some
all.
games are really slow. So like so the idea of I'm pretty sure you're aware of like how battle royales work, right? So like you have a
Vaguely, yeah.
so you have a thing that you can drop anywhere on the map, and there's loot hidden everywhere, and it's
Hmm.
all random, and you start with nothing, and you drop in one area to get loot. You may have someone else dropping in that same area for you to fight. So you have to
Hmm.
fight for the loot, or you have to fight for the loot that they find. And then you kind of and then as the match progresses, the area that you can fight in shrinks.
Right.
Uh
Yeah,
conti-
I know about that.
continuously. And so the design is for you to push you into engagements where you have either you're ready for it, or you're gonna get owned, or you have like there's a high potential for like skill gap to be like, I may not have the best stuff, but I have better more skill than the other player, or I'm able to use my abilities better. I really really love Apex. Like
Mm.
as a battle royale, I think that there's definitely things that it can improve on, but it's hitting all the right notes right now, at least at launch, for a battle royale to be successful. And that's not just saying like, oh, I think it's going to take down Fortnite, because I think that those are two different animals. Uh,
Mm.
like Fortnite's a third person, Apex is first person. Um, I really love how open they're being with like the drop rates. The Apex packs, like it's the most un EA thing that EA has ever produced,
Mm.
because the Apex packs that you do buy or purchase guarantee a blue, and every like they have bad luck protection in there. They guarantee a legendary after 30 packs, stuff like that. Like and they post it literally in there when you go to buy the Apex packs, what the drop rate is of what of every type of item that you could possibly get.
That's cool. Yeah, it looks like my internet just froze again.
I've always I always liked the idea of battle royales,
Yep.
and I didn't get into PUBG early enough, and that was a first person, or I guess that was a third person shooter. H1Z1, I didn't even know that was a thing until way after. Uh,
Yeah.
PUBG came out, that was a third person. Fortnite came out. I don't know what I didn't like about what I don't like about Fortnite. Like it's hard to pin down what I don't like about Fortnite. I don't like two things about Fortnite that really irritate me is uh I can find a weapon, but my enemy can find a better weapon. The same weapon, but it's a better version of it, and they have an advantage on me. And then the building mechanic is not is not great. Like the bit like I understand that it adds depth to it, to the
Right.
gameplay, but it's like something that I don't really care for. So
Hmm.
I from like Fortnite is like not for me, I guess, in that, because like the worst thing in the world for you is to say, oh, I've got a shotgun, but this other person's also got a shotgun, but his shotgun's better than my shotgun, even though it's the same shotgun. It's just a better
Right.
quality. So because it's a better quality of a shotgun, he's gonna kill me. And that's how it is. With this game, it feels a lot different. Like, yes, it like just I feel like it's structured a lot better. And I even tried Blackout was a Call of Duty, uh but there's a lot of things about Blackout that doesn't fit in the it's a good battle royale, but like if you want to be competitive with Fortnite, you have to do what Fortnite is doing. Like we were playing it the other night, and we're talking about like release schedule, and like I was saying, if they're not releasing content at the same or better than Fortnite, they're going to end up losing out to Fortnite, because Fortnite is just growing their content or growing their mechanics or whatever they decide to add. Every 10 weeks they've added something.
Yeah.
And I mean, we're getting a little ahead of ourselves because the game basically is 5 days old now. So I'm really loving what I'm playing right now. I'm really
That's
loving
good.
it. It's a new type of game for me that I'm not really familiar with, even though I'm aware of what type of game it is, and I'm having a lot of fun with it.
Oh, I'm glad people are enjoying it. I don't think the game type is something that's for me. I really like arena shooters, and I hope that more arena shooters come out and not just BRs in the future. But I don't
I
know.
think that's kind of like the worry, right? Like, I
Yeah.
know we were hard on it last year, and it's something that I guess I need to apologize to the battle royale community out there, because so like last year at E3 we were all, and I think we made a meme in my channel where we're like, they're announcing another BR or whatever, haha, like everything's a BR now. But like
Mm-hmm.
when you actually look at how many battle royales there were at the time, AAA. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, yeah, you had H1, you had PUBG. Nobody plays those anymore. I guess some people play PUBG.
Yeah.
Uh, Fortnite and Blackout was the next big one.
Mm-hmm.
Ring of Elysium wasn't really a standout like third party like blockbuster AAA's thing, and now you have this one. Like, that's not a lot of games. So like
Yeah.
for an
Well, what
entire
arena
genre,
shooters?
for
What
an
arena
entire
shooters came out though? None.
Yeah, I guess that's true, but like for an entire new genre, there's only two
Yeah.
games that saturate the market. That's not like every game has to have a BR now, and it's like, I don't know. I think the game, because like the
Well, you
structure.
forgot about what was like the Fortnite clone. Oh crap, I can't remember the name of it now. It's like it's just as cartoony, third person battle royale,
Oh,
paradise
Realm
something or
Royale. Yeah, I mean,
no, no, Realm Royale's one, but that's not what
are
I
you
was.
talking about Cliffy V's project?
Yes,
His side project, Radical Heights.
yes, Radical Heights. That was the
Yeah.
one.
So
Yeah.
like that's not AAA, right? That's not like a big force behind in the end. Like, but you know what I mean? Like, that's not like people play it
Mm.
for like a day and then they go back to Fortnite. They don't do that. Like, there's a lot of them, but there's none of them have been able to I guess like if you look at it, like Fortnite's the World of Warcraft in this scenario, right? But Fortnite, it does a lot of things differently than other battle royales do, and it adds its own mechanics. So like, what's Apex's mechanics going to be? We don't know. We don't know what the next evolution of the mechanics are going to be for these battle royales, and we know they need them because we
Mm-hmm.
have building in Fortnite, and that's not for everybody, but it is for a certain sect of people. But I mean, battle royale as a mode uh, is like is probably game design, like brilliant game design if you think about it, right? we're going to put you on a map where you don't know what anything is on the map. You're going to have nothing when you start, and we're going to shrink the map to force you to engage with other players. And whoever's alive at the end is the victor.
Yeah, I get the concept. I just don't think that I don't know. I just can't really I don't understand the gameplay loop, I guess. It just doesn't seem that interesting once I get my hands on it, and like, but again, like I don't know. I've been playing arena shooters for so long. Like I just don't know if I can handle this whole like loop of just being terrible at it and coming in and like spending hours and hours and hours trying to learn how to play the game just to be able to like have fun, you know?
In a way, I would say it's kind of I mean, it is a backstep in that you don't have the gear that you start with in an arena shooter. You start with the gear that you start with, right?
And that's the other thing is I'm someone who likes to just always use the same thing. Like I don't really modify my loadout. I'm not somebody like True Vanguard or Kami Cakes that is like constantly switching it up. I'm just like, this is what I use. This is what I like.
In an arena shooter, like you would almost say that a PUBG is an evolution, or I wouldn't say it's a revolution of the arena shooter. I would say it's an evolution of it's an evolutionary byproduct of an arena shooter, obviously. Right. So you take the arena shooter and you say, well, what if you didn't have that thing there? But you can get into scenarios where you're like, if you play with a team, and I think this is why you need to give it another shot with a team that knows what they're doing, because I don't know what I'm 100% doing yet, and I'm still kind of like feeling it out. I still haven't had a epic victory royale yet, so I haven't had that yet. I had that experience. Come close.
I've had one kill.
Really close.
One kill in an hour.
Yeah, so my second game, I had 8 kills, and we were the second place team.
I literally just rage uninstalled it. I couldn't take it anymore.
I was destroying whoever was like the first day. I was like, oh my god, I love this game so much, and I can't express how much I actually love the game yet. So because it's hard to say, right? Because like I have my reservations about EA and where EA could essentially screw it, because EA can screw this up bad in the next couple of months.
Yeah. Let's it doesn't seem like Huffy's gonna make it, so let's talk about Titan skating real quick.
Okay.
So they finally are fixing Titan skating. It's going to be coming in an update in March to 2.2.0, which is weird because they say later this month, but that's actually next month. So I don't know what's going on there.
February 29th.
Is it February 29th?
No, but
there isn't one of those this year, right?
Yeah,
it's not a leap year.
Next year's leap year.
So I don't know. They say like we're planning these changes. How they word it,
but yeah. So I was just making a joke there, but it is weird
coming in March. We'll assume it's March. We don't know what day exactly yet.
It could be the final week in February, the 26th.
Yeah,
but either way, the fix is coming.
Yeah, so they're making it so you can't macro anymore to gain extra speed, and you can't like flip your scroll wheel around to be able to skate at 1,000,000 miles an hour, which is nice. They say I don't know what this means exactly, but the exact quote says, "It will still be possible to maximize your lift speed by skillfully timing your lift activation inputs to boost your overall momentum." So I guess if you like spam your spacebar in like a very certain timing, you'll still be able to maximize the overall speed, but it won't be what it is now, which is just ridiculously fast, where you can hit it like every 0.025 seconds or whatever it is, you know, like. So that's going to be a huge change. They say something really funny in here, where they basically admit that their netcode is so bad that it can't even keep up with the speed of Titan skating. And it makes sense when you think about it, because at best, Destiny's netcode, if you remember from the Battle Nonsense analysis, he says at best it's 40 hertz is what they're aiming for, the netcode, but it never hits that. He said even when he played with somebody in his own house on the same network, it was only at 39 hertz. So the refresh rate just is never going to be able to keep up with that speed of Titan skating.
Right.
So that's pretty funny. That was probably why it made it so hard to track them. You know, especially if they're going horizontally across your screen. It was just like, ugh.
Think back to Bungie's Halo 2 days or Halo 3 days where you used to be able to see exactly where you went on the map. And it's like imagining that a person be like at one side of the map and then literally a second later is at another side of the map. And it's like you'd look at that and you'd go, obviously they're cheating. I need to report
Right.
them.
Right.
So
Yeah.
but here in this case, they can't do anything about it because like it's functional in their own game.
Yeah. Exactly.
So like the old Bungie though would ban that person for cheating, right?
It's hard to say because this is like their first real PC title. I mean,
Yeah. I mean, I guess it's only possible on the PC too.
yeah. They actually, to be honest, no. No, the old Bungie, think about it. Like, the old Bungie let a lot of bugs persist. It became like a staple of the game. Like, think about it. The BXR combination and BXB and stuff like that, and Rocket to Sword Trick, all those exploits and bugs became like part of the sandbox in Halo 2.
Yeah, but they would have banned someone for this in Halo 2 though. This is something that they would ban you for. Because this is technically
they ban people for network
code
manipulation.
Yeah, this is netcode manipulation at even at its face, right? Or no?
It's macroing. I mean, there was not really that much macroing happening on consoles, so I don't have an equivalent thing. But I think it's interesting though because like those bugs, super bouncing to the top of the maps and stuff like that, and getting to playable spaces that were never intended to be gotten to, that became part of the game. Literally, you would like crouch underneath a piece of glass and then bounce to the bottom and bounce all the way up to the top of the map and be on top of buildings that people never knew you could get on top of. And that was like part of the game.
Yeah, I guess.
You know?
I mean, yeah, because they did the same thing with like what did I say? I would say something that I saw in Halo 2 a lot, like the bounces with the skulls and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah. So I'm excited for that fix. I hope that it makes the sandbox feel a lot better. I'm glad they're finally getting around to this, even though it took literally forever. I mean, we're coming up on close to a year at this point. It's like 9 months.
You almost have to question how they're fixing it. Like,
yeah,
how they're actually going to fix it, because like that's the question, right, Reese? He's asking how exactly they're fixing it. Like that's my question as well. It's like how are they going to attack this?
So based on this wording, where they say that they're addressing the use of unconventional inputs, I think they are putting a input limiter so that if you oversample, it won't
that's going to screw
register
with a lot more stuff than just the Titan skating.
Well, no, but they're only applying it to the Titan lift. I mean, if you think about it, it makes sense because they can do this to weapons, right? Like if you like fire a weapon super fast, it doesn't just like fire at whatever rate of fire you want it to.
Yeah.
So they're doing the same thing to the Titan lift.
Yeah, but if they do that, then they're gonna end up messing with other classes as well. Then
no, because this is the only lift that it ever worked on.
No, but I mean, there's other things you can do that involve time gating lifts like this. Like there's.
But so they don't have to make it excessive. Like I was saying, the input commands for Titan skating was something like 0.025 seconds. Every 0.025 seconds, it was another spacebar press. It's not possible for a human thumb to do that, obviously. So even if they make it like every quarter of a second or every 10th of a second, Titan skating would be impossible, and it would still be possible to press it as fast as you can without any issues.
So I guess we just have to wait and see, and then Titan skating macros can still exist, but I mean, there's still going to be an optimum Titan skating macro then, right?
Yeah, but I mean, you'd probably be able to achieve it just without a macro anyway, pretty easily. And it won't be fast. So
like
I don't know
the
it'll be
idea
worth
that
it.
I had was that
To be honest with you, I like without the macro, I actually like the other glide better than catapult anyway. It feels better, in my opinion, the one that like pushes you forward. So I think people will probably switch their glide.
was it catapult or was it the one that the burst?
Catapult is the one that people use for Titan skating.
Yeah, I mean that's the one that I have on my Titan just because of the way that it is. I did want to say something about the last word though. I actually got the last word the other night because I had been offline when I was offline the week that it was, and I haven't had a chance to use it yet. But I flat out say that I was wrong about my impressions about the last word. I haven't used it yet, but like everyone disagreed with my I apologize for saying that the last word was going to be garbage.
I said the same thing last week. I know you weren't here, but I was basically like, yeah, I was totally wrong about this. But it's all because they hid the stats. That's what it is. They hid the stats. The stats don't reflect what the gun actually does. It says it's a 180 RPM. It actually fires at 225.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
With a higher impact.
Which makes it the best hand cannon in its slot for the purpose.
Right.
That it's trying to achieve. So.
Yep.
Which it should. I think all exotics should be the absolute best in the slot for what it's trying to achieve.
Mm-hmm.
And in this case, it wants to be the best PvP gun on the market for kinetic slot.
And it is. I mean, it's a different gun than Not Forgotten. It doesn't have the range of it, but I like it a lot better. It's a lot more intuitive. So
you don't have to ADS, right? Or you do ADS?
You don't have to. I find that in most cases I have more success ADSing because of just hip fire accuracy.
Right.
If you don't hit the first shot with your hip fire, the accuracy buff you don't get, and it can be complicated. But it's decent from the hip as well. It's just not something I like try to fire from the hip all the time.
Cool. Yeah, Titan skating though, back to that. It'll be interesting to see how they actually fix it though, because like if they do fix it with if they do fix it the way that you're saying though, they could potentially just apply it towards the Titan, but they could possibly mess with other stuff that's in the sand. Well, that they can, I guess they consider in the sandbox, but I don't know, like
we'll see how it plays out.
I don't know what camp I'm in as far as what I think should and shouldn't be able to be done.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I'm kind of in the camp that says that they should fix all the issues, even the cool things that you can do with the game, and make the cool things possible, but make it be intentional instead of the way that it is now, or more intentional.
Right. All right. Well, that's all I have for this week. Next week will be episode 50. We'll have to try and plan something special.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what, but we'll see what we can come up with.
Right.
Thanks everybody for coming this week. We'll see you later. Peace.
Bye.